Hello everyone and welcome along to live coverage of the Inside Line Racing League. It's the top tier, it's ILR1, it's PS4 and we are back for the first action of 2019. I'm Ginger Andy and once again joining me in the commentary box we have Mark, or Gaming Ali Wonder. Mark, Happy New Year to you. Are you looking forward for the season ahead?
Oh, Happy New Year to you as well, Andy. Well, we've had a brilliant first half of the season in ILR1. And, well, even though Blizzard has quite the advantage, there could be still some twists and turns to come.
Yeah, well, Blizzard has got such a strong advantage. He might not have won in the last two Grand Prix. He was second at Silverstone and second in Germany, but he has got a huge lead in the driver standings. A championship that was so closely fought earlier on in the season. We didn't know which way it was going to go, but suddenly Blizzard is really up the ante. And at the same time, you have to say, Mark, his rivals have fell by the wayside, and that's really aided Blizzard's charge, hasn't it?
Yes, I mean, after Canada, Blizzard retired, the likes of Doom, Lambo and Cliffy were not far behind at all, especially in Doom's case. But since then, the 4 races since Canada, it has completely turned on its head for the McLaren driver, and that is why Blizzard has an over 80-point advantage in the championship at the moment, which, even with 10 races to go, is a significant advantage for the rivals to try and overcome.
Yeah, exactly. Blizzard, 2 victories, 2 second places in that time. Zoom, his best finish, 7th. Cliffy's best finish is 5th in that period. It just shows you that it can all turn its head so quickly in that Canadian Grand Prix, as you mentioned. Blizzard's DNF, both Cliffy and Zoom in the podium. That allowed it to close up so much, but that is not the case anymore. He has an 81-point lead in the championship. We have Blizzard on 184, Zoom on 103, 3 points for the back, Cliffy on 100 points. Lambo, who's been so consistent throughout the season, is 4th in the championship. Nowak finds himself 5th. Lickleblocks, on a sudden recovery after no points in the first 5 races, has got back-to-back podiums to end 2018. Can he start 2019 with a bang? CSR Leon is 7th. Lewis, a forgettable season, although winning. Last time out in Germany is 8th. Francis 9th, and TTG Poe rounds out the top 10. So that is the top 10 in the standings. Even the man in 11th has managed to win a race, CC Brain, winning that incredible race a few weeks ago back in Britain. But let's quickly cast our mind back to that German Grand Prix. It's hard to remember, it was almost 3-4 weeks ago, but Lewis winning for the first time this season, for the first time showing that he has the pace as a championship contender, although you have to feel, Mark, it's just a little bit too late, isn't it?
Yes, I mean, it's always the case with a new game. Some people just, they hit the ground running straight away. Others take longer, even those like Lewis who were so good on the previous game. But I get the sense, not just in this league, but also IR1 with that performance at Germany, that Lewis has found his feet in this game at last, which is why we're seeing the kind of performances we were used to from the reigning champion. But yes, I think given where he is in the standings, it would be a minor miracle. It could put him in good step for Season 2.
Yeah, absolutely. That could be the season that Lewis wins the championship, as he did, of course, last year, being Season 2 in the game. That would be Season 5 next time around. But let's keep an eye on the lap times then. We do have the medium tyre, the soft tyre, and the ultra soft tyre here this weekend. So we have got that situation where there's a gap between the compounds, the super soft, not here this weekend. So it's the ultras, the softs, and the mediums. And that will mean I should expect most drivers to do their competitive lap times on this soft compound tyre, if not everyone. We've seen it on Xbox on Friday night, where the 2 drivers on pole were not drivers that would be anywhere near the front usually, but they chose to run on the ultra soft tyre. It seems, Mark, that the soft tyre is the ideal race tyre, isn't it?
It's a brilliant race tyre around this track. It's a high downforce, low traction circuit, and the soft compound tyre seems to be the best balance for the compounds that you want around here. Unless it's a wet race, I don't expect to see a lot of use of the ultra soft tyre. It's just not very good around here if it's going to be a dry start. They only last a matter of laps really before you have to pit.
Yeah, well, we saw that as well on the Xbox race on Friday night. The guys on those ultra soft tyres, they might have started at the front, but they were very quickly going backwards, and that was even with the rain trying to save them a little bit when the rain arrived quite early on in that race. So if it was to be a dry race, I think you could say your prayers and say good night to the guys on the ultra softs should they start on them. I mean, I do believe on the PS4 the tyre wear's a little bit better. That's debatable, but some say it is a little bit better on this console, but I still don't think it would be the ideal tyre. If you want to make the one-stop work, which is the ideal strategy on this game at 50% level on almost every track, in fact I think it is on every single racetrack, the one-stop, so using the ultra soft simply is not ideal. So at the moment, for the majority of this qualifying session, as we've seen a few times this season, we'll be seeing drivers just dial themselves in for that ideal lap later on in the soft tyre, and I think that's what we're seeing, Mark. And Lewis putting an early marker down on the mediums, doing that 16.5. It looks like he's maybe going to try and push on the mediums and then try and nail it on the grippier softs later on.
Yes, it's a decent bang from Lewis there, and there's quite a few out there just sort of putting multiple laps in on the mediums, just to sort of, as you say, dial into this particular track. I mean, the funny thing about Hungary is it hasn't really changed that much since we started racing here in F1 in the 80s, but they've tried really hard to sort of, you know, widen some of the corners to make it easy to overtake into turn 1 and turn 3. But it just hasn't really worked out that way. It's still a very difficult track to overtake here. So qualifying is so important here. It's almost as important here as it is at a place like Monaco.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is. That's what they say, though, isn't it? It's like Monaco without the barriers. That is what they say. Not a street circuit, but due to its tight nature and short straights, you don't have much time to breathe either, particularly in that middle sector of the lap. And it is really tough to overtake. Mind you, trying telling the guys from Friday night's Xbox race, it was absolutely mental. I don't really know how to sum that one up. I'm still recovering from it, if I'm honest with you. But we're still waiting on any representative lap times at the moment. We should expect them to start to tumble in the last 5 minutes or so, those lap times, but keep an eye on it. But Lickle Blocks, he is one we should watch at the moment. He's P13, he's gone out there on a set of ultra softs, and he's in mode 5. So is he pushing, or is he on a set of mediums? He's actually on a set of mediums. His best tire lap was on the... Yeah. Oh, big slide there for Lickle. But let's speak about him briefly, Mark. A bit of a messy season to start with. No points in the first 5 races, then sort of has picked up points in every race since, although patchy at times. But a big significance is in Britain and Germany, back-to-back podiums. So you think he'll be looking to start 2019 with a bang and start to improve his performance? It's a bit of a similar story to Lewis, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. Although, you know, Lewis had the pressure of being the reigning champion, whereas Lickle, you know, there were no expectations, but he did throw away some really good results earlier on in the season. But I think he is beginning to show people what he can do. And he's just got to find that sort of golden touch of consistency. If he can get that, he's certainly got the raw speed to sort of consistently be battling in the top 5 of the races.
Yep, absolutely. We need to keep an eye on that Ferrari driver. We know he's capable. We've seen him at the front before. 2 podiums in his last 2 races. He will be determined to build on it. I'm pretty sure when he spoke to me on both occasions on the podium interviews, he said it's all about building from here, or having a good second half to the season. And I think that's exactly what Lickle will be aiming to do, as he goes 8th quickest on the timings. But of course, on these medium tyres, we don't expect any serious lap times. I mean, it was a rain-affected race on Friday night, but I presume, Mark, it's almost certain it's going to be softs to mediums. The ultras, totally useless. One-stop race. I'm not sure when they'll be stopping, though, from the soft tyres. Do you have any info on that? I mean, I know you've been a driver before, and you drive in sometimes. And what happened at Hungary when you raced here?
Well, it's a long race here, 35 laps. So they'll be going well over lap 10 before they're pitting, if they're starting on the softs. The mediums last a very, very long time. They last at least 20 laps before they even start to go off. So, it's going to be somewhere between lap 12 to 15 on the soft compounds, and then mediums to the end of the race. Now, the interesting aspect of it, though, will be those on the alternate strategy, because it's so difficult to overtake here. Traffic will be key. If you pit early and you end up stuck behind some of those on the mediums outside the top 10 who are going long into the race, and you can't get past them, that's going to really compromise you. So it may allow those on the overcut who go slightly longer to gain an advantage. Yeah, absolutely. Well, that will be one to watch. Thanks for your insight there on the tyre strategies. Of course, we know that you like to do a little bit of league racing in your time. I mean, I tried to do it at the start of the game, then sacked it in, and I just gave up. Not good enough to do it, so that's what I did. But yeah, interesting to see how the strategy will pan out between the softs and the mediums. So we expect them in the middle stage of the race, between lap 10, 15 roughly. So we'll keep an eye during that period how they get on. But as you say, the mediums lasting for so long, so that'll be one to watch. What do you think about the guys outside the top 10? Do you think they might mix it up, go for mediums and try something different? Yes, I think so. The medium, some of the tracks, the medium compound is not great, but at this track the mediums are not too bad, so it is viable. You just got to time that pit stop, because if you go a few laps too long on the mediums, then you're not going to be able to get back the time, because track position is king here. Yeah, absolutely. Track position is king. Of course, we spoke about it. This 14-turn circuit, 4.4 kilometres, so twisty, so technical, so difficult to nail the lap, get it together.
We've seen a few guys on soft tyres, but they're all still in the pits at the moment on the graphic on the left-hand side. Gone and N, It's Me, Bugatti, Neo. Frisky CJ though, he's done a 15.5 on the ultra soft tyre. Do we think that's a pole position contending lap from Frisky CJ with that 15.5? Is he going to try and mix it up amongst the big boys with that lap? It looks like it might.
Maybe. No, I think the few of the drivers can go faster on the softs, but you know, Frisky, if that wasn't a full lap in anger, he'll be hoping he gets his final lap right. There are a few parts of this track where you can easily get an invalidation. Turn 4 is probably the most risky one of getting penalties and invalidations there. The chicane, of course. So, you know, Frisky, maybe he's not aware of the strategy, but if he ends up in the top 10 of those ultras, he's going to be highly compromised.
Yep, absolutely. We'll keep an eye on it, see if Frisky CJ does choose to do it. But I mean, the 15.5, is that not quite difficult to beat? I'm trying to remember. Oh, LMC Hamilton there, going around the final corner and nearly doing the most embarrassing of things. He looked like he wanted to come into the pits and had to steer away from it, because if he didn't, he was going to go flying straight into the pit wall there. And I think if you remember back to Kimi Räikkönen in damp conditions at Nürburgring 2007, he missed the pit lane entry and very nearly collected the barrier, and LMC Hamilton nearly started his 2019 in the most embarrassing of ways. It is one of those pit lanes where it is possible to do it, but as a driver, with all the practice you put in, that's the last thing you want to do, isn't it?
It's a very funny pit entry here. It's very understeery. It is very easy just to slide out to the left and just, you know, make a right pig's ear of the pit entry. So they have to be mindful of that, because, you know, when they're coming in, because it is a one-stop race, they're going to be on really bad tyres when they're coming for their pit stop. So they're going to be losing quite a bit of time making that entry to the pit lane.
Yeah, they sure will. It's a dodgy pit lane for sure, and Hamilton showing that with his entry there. As VRT Cliffy actually has started a lap, and I'm interested by it because there's 5 minutes and 40 to go in the session, and I didn't expect him to start a lap on Ultrasofts so late on in the session. So is he going to go for it here? He's in mode 5 as well, DRS open. It looks like he's pushing, so let's keep an eye on that. I don't know about you, Mark, but if he was to come into the pits on this lap and fit a set of softs, what would be your preference? Would you rather do a lap on ultra softs to warm up for your softs run, or do a lap on mediums? My preference would be to do the lap on mediums and then find the grip later on in a set of grippier tyres. I don't know about you.
Well, I don't know, whenever I did league racing, if there was a track where clearly the fast compound was not going to be used for the dry race, I used to always do sort of bank collapse on the faster compound, just to give you the confidence and the grip in the car, and you know, and also confidence that, you know, the setup work that you've done has been correct, because, you know, you can still make adjustments to the front wing and the brake bias afterwards and the diff. So, you know, if you go on the ultras and you find, okay, it's not quite right, you can go back in the pit lane and make a few minor adjustments. Well, which when you go on the hardest compound, it's more difficult to get a feel of that.
Yeah, well, that's quite an interesting comparison between us two then. Two different opinions. I'm actually quite interested by that. I'm actually going to open that one up to the group chat. What would you guys do in that kind of situation? If you needed to run on the soft tyre, would you warm yourself up on the softer compound or the harder compound? I mean, I'm saying harder, Mark's saying the softer. That's quite an interesting one, actually. That's just a difference in styles there, and quite an interesting opinion from you. I just like to go in the medium because I feel like when you put the softs on, you feel as if you've got this extra grip from somewhere. You feel alive, the car comes alive, and that's why I have that opinion. But we do now have cars out there on the soft compound tyre. It's taken a full 15 minutes to get to this position, and finally we have the guys out there. It's Me looks like he's going to be one of the first guys to start a lap. We've got It's Me. Let's see if there's anyone else further round. And I know Leon is out there and Neo is out there.
Lewis on the ultra softs.
Is he going quickly? That's the question. Let's see if we can pick him up. Let's keep an eye on Lewis. He's not too far around the lap at the moment. Well, with 3 minutes and 30 to go.
He hasn't got time.
Yeah, this is a genuine effort then from Lewis, the champion of last year and the race winner last time out. I am very, very surprised to see someone of his pace and ability doing a lap on a set of the Ultrasofts. Let's see then, as he makes his way towards the final sector. Through that high-speed turn 11 he goes, and down towards turn 12. And into that final sector he goes now. The braking for this turn 12 is so tricky. There's such a short run-off area. Make an error and your lap is ruined. Is Lewis going to peel into the pits? He's tight for time if he does come into the pits. Oh, he is coming in. So running out of time, but Lewis is in the pits. Lewis comes in, as we see a time from Neo, a 16.0, the first representative time on those tyres. What about Leon? Where is he on the lap? He's coming round the final corner now. 2 minutes and 35 to go in the session. This is the big laps, the important laps at the end. Leon, this doesn't look quick. It's only it's slower than his current lap, so not a good effort there from Leon. Who else we got on the quick one? Go on.
Blizzard's about to start one, and Novak is about to start one as well. Most of them are about to start. I think Neo actually, no, he's he did a 1:16.006 on the soft, so that's not a bad effort from Neo. So yeah, perhaps you're right. Maybe the pole time is going to be in the 15s.
Yeah, very good effort there. We'll keep an eye on that to see if it does remain like that. But further down the order, I want to see if Nowak is on a lap at the moment. I think he is. He's going down the hill on a set of those soft compound tyres at the moment. I think Lorman's has just gone P5 on a set of soft compound tyres. Littleblock's his first effort hasn't been a good one unless he's not done one yet, but let's keep an eye on Nowak on these softs. He's backed out, I think, of this current lap, so a little bit of pressure being mounted on him. Gone and then crossing the line to start one. Let's pick up Blizzard once again then. Currently P15, no time on the board. It's crucial you nail this lap, and it's almost like back in the days in the early 2000s of the one-shot qualifying method, wasn't it, that we had back in F1, where the pressure is on as Littleblock's finally pumps in a really strong lap and a 15.7 mark.
Yeah, that's really good. Well, Red Bull really cut it fine to get their final runs in. They've both come out at the same time. They're almost racing each other to get over the line. So interesting tactics from these two.
Oh, we'll keep an eye on them, see how the Red Bulls get on. But let's watch Blizzard as he comes towards the end of the lap. He's actually in mode 1 at the moment. Has he backed out of this lap to try and save some ERS for the final lap of the session? That is not ideal preparation for Blizzard if it's the case. He's coming round the final corner now to cross the line. I think he's actually on a decent one. He's gone up to mode 4. It's a 15.5, and he even goes quicker than Frisky CJ on the ultra soft tyre. What an effort from Blizzard to go quickest of all. He has set the marker. He's laid down the benchmark. Littleblock's, he's gone off the road. He was 7,000 up in his previous best, and now he's gone off the road. Here is Neo in the final corner. He's currently up on his previous best. Can he displace his teammate? Neo for the line. No, he can't. A 15.7 for him. Goranen's gone 4th on the other Ferrari, a fraction slower than his teammate. Poe is crossing the line to start a late run, I think, in the session. Where is Lewis? He's coming around the final corner. 3 seconds to go is going to get this lap in. How tight can you get, Mark?
Oh, both Red Bulls just managed to get over the line before the just mentioned Lickle was on a second run and he lost it at the chicane and damaged his wing, so his qualifying's over. Third will be the best he's going to get today, but good qualifying if it stays like this for Ferrari at the moment.
Oh, Nowak sliding his way through the final corner, losing a bunch of time in that final sector. He goes P9 on a 16.3, make that P10 as LMC Hamilton displaces his lap. Most drivers, I think, have seen the flag or completed their runs. That's the best we're going to see from Blizzard. What about Lambo? He's in the final corner right now. Coming round it, we're going to go, of course, to Lewis after this. Here comes Lambo, currently last of all. He climbs up into P10. Now the question is, what can Lewis do? Remember, winner, last time out, the world champion. Finally getting back to his best as CJ on the Ultrasoft predictably goes quickest of all, finds another 4/10 of a second, so there will be no pole position for Blizzard. He will have to try and clear Frisky CJ, but everyone in the pit lane is looking at the 2 Red Bulls. Let's have a look at Lewis round the final corner. Here comes the world champion. Can he improve? He goes second, a fraction slower, in fact quicker than Blizzard crucially. So Lewis, we mentioned it earlier on, and he is back to his best. You said it took a while to get into the groove, Mark, and he's got into the groove at long last, and he has got virtually back-to-back, got his pole position back-to-back with that victory last time out. CJ on pole, of course, but the real pole sitter here is Lewis, and it's a great lap, isn't it?
No, it's a great lap from Lewis to get ahead of the championship leader in terms of the soft compounds. But yeah, fair play to Frisky. You know, it may be a terrible decision for his strategy, unless it's a wet race course, but I highly doubt that is the case. But congratulations for the pole position for the Mercedes driver, his first of the season. Well,
there you go then. What a drive. What a pole lap. Well, what a lap I should say from Lewis, but good job there from CJ. You still have to get the job done. He might be on this 2-stage softer tyres, but he has opted for those ultra soft tyres. Maybe he's got something up his sleeve. Maybe he can make them work. The evidence on Xbox showed it might not work, but we do believe there's a little bit more durability in the tyres on PlayStation. So we'll keep an eye on how CJ gets on. He's on pole with Lewis alongside on the front row. Blizzard and Leckel are third and fourth. Leckel continues that fighting form. Gordon's fifth. Neo is sixth. Poe, Leon, Josh and LMC Hamilton round out the top 10 here in Hungary. But I have to say, we might not have Lewis directly in the championship hunt, but it's given us an opportunity to see him versus Blizzard for the majority of the season that's left, I think. What do you think, Mark?
I think that's probably the way it's going to be. I mean, this isn't the only league I see that in, and no, I mean, Lewis is definitely banging form, but it's interesting. Frisky in front of them, someone who hasn't typically been fighting at the front this season, so, you know, could be a crucial moment straight away in the race. Who can get past Frisky first? And actually, Lewis getting that extra position, making him a chance to put him and the Mercedes between himself and Blizzard.
Yeah, absolutely. It will be really interesting to see what Frisky CJ can offer up. I mean, we know from past times when CJ was used to be near the sharp end, and when he was in the thick of it in the battles, that he takes no prisoners when he's battling. He will defend like crazy. He will battle like crazy. And even though he's racing with the guys typically we've seen near the front of the field, I just don't think we're going to see CJ taking any prisoners, and he'll be fighting it for every position like he always does, and it could create some firebox. It creates that extra little bit of variability amongst it, because you'd expect Lewis and Blizzard to run away, but with CJ at the front that might not happen, because we expect those ultra soft tyres to go off very quickly, Mark, don't we?
Yes, he'll have an advantage for the first couple of laps, and then they will quickly tail off because they heat up significantly in the dry conditions here in Hungary. Just looking outside the top 10, as expected, the majority on the soft compound, but very interestingly, in P13, Novak has opted for the ultra soft tyres, so he's gone for ultra aggressive strategy to try and regain some places. Nobody in the top 5 of the championship except for Blizzard is in the top 10. So, you know, as it stands, even if the result were to be like this, Blizzard is still going to gain a lot in the championship.
Yeah, it just shows you how much those drivers that were fighting with Blizzard have tailed off in recent weeks, and it's suddenly a man from so far down in the championship standings that's competing with them, and it's Lewis, of course, who's only won once this season, and that was in the last Grand Prix. So, I mean, if Blizzard just keeps up the form he's keeping up now, he'll continue to extend his lead until Lewis gets up into second place, but it's too little too late to even think really about Lewis winning the championship. And you have to say it's going to be all about, and by the way, and we need to look at this here, because this is quite interesting. I was told this on the Xbox race the other night. Frisky CJ is deliberately holding these guys up on the ultra soft tyre so that the soft compound tyre doesn't get up to temperature. This is what Ghost Crab and Dutchman, the two guys on the front row the other night, did in the formation lap. Slowed these guys right up, didn't let them get any temperature in the soft tyre, and it's such a clever idea. And I didn't realise that the game actually recognised the difference in the tyre compounds in the formation lap. I thought it was just something they added to the game. There's a little bit of to improve the realisticness of the game, but I didn't realise the tyre compound actually affected it. So that's quite interesting to see that Frisky CJ knows that, and he's deliberately doing that. So clever ploy there from him, Mark, isn't it?
Very clever. But here we go.
Yeah, the cars are on the grid. We're getting ready for the 5 red lights. There we go. We get a good camera angle at long last. Well, Xbox was a cracker. Can 2019 start in style on PlayStation? We'll find out. It's ILR1, PS4 is go. Here we go, racing down towards that short first corner, and it's Frisky CJ with an easy lead. Look at the battle in the background. Look at Leckel steaming up the inside on the Red Bull of Lewis. Can he get away through? Not quite. Forced out wide is VSR Blizzard. Leckel looks to have got the jump on the McLaren. There's a huge accident in the background. Leon is off the road, so Leon in the wall. We'll go to that in a moment, but crucially, Frisky holds his lead. Lewis second. Leckel battling so hard with VSR Blizzard as they run down the hill through turn 3 and into the high-speed turn 4. Thankfully for Blizzard, he gets back ahead of Leckel blocks. He muscles his way through and back down into 4th goes Leckel. It was a good effort to try and get through, but he couldn't quite do it, Mark.
It's really difficult to go around the outside through turn 4. Blizzard was always going to have the advantage there, the way the the corner undulates to the left, but you know, it was a really good start from Lickle. He almost threatened to take the pair of them at turn 1, but he has to back off. But you know, early days, yeah, but Lewis already on the back of that Mercedes.
Early days, Bugatti up 4 places, the Brain up 5 on the early exchanges, Calix up 5 as well, Cliffy up 4 from the rear of the field, Nowek up 3 on those ultra soft tyres. You've got to wonder if that was a genuine decision or a mistake from him, but still at the front, CJ from Lewis. Can Lewis get that move done quickly, Mark? You have to feel that could be the key to the victory this afternoon, getting disposed of frisky CJ immediately with his rivals unable to do it. Can Lewis do it into turn 1? This could be crucial. He's having a little look, but CJ looks to be in control of the situation for now. It's all about getting ahead of frisky CJ as soon as possible, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Well, Novak is using those ultra softs to good effect. He's already up to P9 from P13, so he's made a really strong start, but they're going to be going off not as quickly as Friskies, of course, because they're fresh sets, but you know, the drivers on the softs, they're going to have to be doing some defending. DRS be activated at the end of this lap, of course. Well,
Lambo and Leon have come into the pits. We saw Leon deep into the barrier down at turn 1. I'm surprised they got going again. I presume contact with Lambo. I didn't see Lambo's car off the road. I'm not sure if you did, Mark, but it looks like CJ and Lewis still holding firm, and as we expected, CJ just holding these guys up for now, but not all over the road, rear end sliding just yet, but in the next couple of laps we'll expect that.
Yes, I mean, to be honest, I'm looking on board, the front tyres already look slightly warm, but that's not to be surprised. They're not really a race tyre here, they are a qualifying tyre. I mean, it's not the worst strategy in the world, getting the track position early on, but and you know, when he pits, he'll have plenty of space to use it, but you know, ultimately he's going to be doing a 2-stop with this, so it's not really going to work out for him.
You've just seen Neo there going a little bit wide into the penultimate turn. Is he going to be under threat? And they run down to turn 1 from Gon and N. Here we go, down to the first corner. Doesn't look like it here. What about Nowek on those ultra softs? Here he is, steaming down the inside of Bugatti in the Red Bull. And is he going to make that move? Well, I'll tell you what, Nowek's making the ultras work. Surprised CG isn't pulling away at the moment, because Nowek makes up another place down into turn 2. Through he goes on Bugatti and up into the top 8 now. I'm still not sure if Bugatti's picked up a point this season. Well, he's in the points at the moment. He'll be looking to put that right as we start 2019.
He's the only driver on the grid who hasn't scored a point in the first half of the season. He came really close at Austria, I believe. But then, unfortunately, he had a lot of penalties at the end. DRS activated, of course. I think Lewis has been, you know, saving his battery and biding his time. So he didn't really challenge Frisky into turn 1 at the end of lap 2. So now this is where he's going to wait for the end of this particular lap and then launch a real assault.
Yeah, we'll have a look at that in a moment. I'm just keeping an eye on Nowek at the moment, who really is making these ultra soft tyres work. He's now climbing all over the back of TTG Pro, as in the background, Josh and the Brain side by side, banging wheels down at turn 12. Not usually a great overtaking opportunity. Try telling these two that. Round the outside tries Josh, he can't do that. And the Brain holds. Pardon me, holds on, but we need to go back to the front, because here comes Lewis right into the slipstream behind CJ. He defends to the pit wall, almost Schumacher-esque. Lewis down the outside. Can he outbrake CJ? You don't want to be in the outside of CJ, because he'll just run you out of road. So he cuts back on the exit, pulls alongside the Mercedes, and by the time they reach the braking zone of turn 2, the Red Bull takes the lead. Lovely stuff, textbook stuff that from Mark. The undercut there on frisky CJ, beautiful.
Yeah, he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew that couldn't go around the outside, as he mentioned, and it was a useful textbook switch back there. Now, if Lewis can just get out of DRS range, he can get a significant advantage, because Blizzard's going to be stuck in the part of the track he can't really overtake.
Yeah, absolutely, fantastic stuff to watch, and yeah, that's the key. That was, you're absolutely right. The key to the race for Lewis, not necessarily to the race, but to a big advantage. You're spot on. Make the move into turn 2. Blizzard stuck in an area of the racetrack where overtaking is very difficult, and you're seeing that now. There you go, getting frustrated, running wide in the dirt here behind, and already Lewis has opened out a 1.2 second advantage. Very clever driving from Lewis. He knows what CJ's like. CJ will fight tooth and nail for every position. If you're on the outside of CJ, there's very little chance he's going to give you room on the exit of the corner, so he decided on the switchback. A very smart move, and he's up into the lead and already 1.5 seconds ahead, but it's surely a matter of time before Blizzard follows through, and it could be a similar move here. He's going to go down the outside. Will he make a mistake though and go right round the outside? The cutback's the ideal move, and there is the cutback, but
watch out for Lickle.
Yeah, he's still there, CJ. Lickle's in there as well, and now up the inside will go Blizzard. on CJ. Oh, look how close they are. CJ fighting so hard for the position. He will have the inside, but will he have the traction? Blizzard has to give him extra space, runs off the road, makes the move, and comes Lickle. Unbelievable.
Whoa.
3 wide up into turn 4. Unbelievable move.
Oh, my goodness.
Blocks. What a move. Absolutely incredible manoeuvre from Lickle Blocks. How do you find the bravery, the courage, the endeavour to make that? And he's through. CJ is never quite literally a roadblock, and he's been spun. He's been spun round. Round goes CJ into a spin. The impatience was too much for Blizzard. He got impatient and tapped CJ round, and there could be a stewards inquiry there because he got impatient, tried to move when it wasn't possible, and sent that Mercedes into a spin. What did you make of that, Mark?
Lickle, that was the best overtake I've seen this season so far in terms of what we've seen on camera. Absolutely stunning move, so much bravery. And he didn't even cut the corner, he got the braking spot on. And well, Blizzard will be highly frustrated, and I think he went for a move there. Maybe it was teasing, I'm not sure, but as a result of all that, Lewis now has a 3.3 second advantage out front.
Yeah, incredible. It's going in, has a little look up the inside of Neo. Neo goes really deep, nearly collects his teammate into turn 1, and then on the cutback, gone in, eases past Neo. So frisky CJ causing a massive train there. And as you mentioned, Mark, if you don't get the move done immediately, you're going to let Lewis scamper off into the distance, and 3.5 seconds is a mammoth advantage for Lewis, and it's not even Blizzard that's behind him, it's Lickle Blocks. So things all falling into place for Lewis, and if I'm not mistaken, that's what happened back in Germany as well. There was a big scrap going on, and then he managed to scamper away while everyone else was fighting.
Yeah, it's pretty much. It's kind of similar to the sort of races we saw early in the season when Blizzard was winning, but it has kind of swung back in Lewis's favour recently. It's just a shame, it's such a huge points gap, otherwise this would be a sensational title battle right now.
It really is. I mean, I have to talk even further about that move from Lickle. I mean, to even think about that, to even try that, to even put the car in that position to do that was remarkable. And to go up the inside into turn 4 of all places, take a bow. I mean, I would say move of the year, but it's January. But I'm pretty confident come December it will still be move of the year, and I'm not going to forget that one in a hurry. Jack Gooding, if you're watching, clip that one and save it for the December award. It's a stunner. It's gone and in. Tries on Blizzard, and Blizzard might be rattled a little bit here by what's gone on in the last few laps. And gone and in, the Finnish driver, who's had a pretty solid race, it has to be said so far, is looking really menacing behind the McLaren, isn't he?
Very menacing, and well, Novak's run on the Ultrasoft has ended, and unfortunately he's had to replace the wing at the top down at Toro Rosso, so now he's coming out well down the order, probably come out ahead of CG Brain in P15, but whatever strategy he was planning to do, that's been completely destroyed.
Yeah, so Novak into the pits. He's back out on the Ultras. What? Oh
no.
Oh dear. Not a good start to 2019 for Novak, unless he's got something incredible up his sleeve, I don't know. But Novak, yep, it's not going well for him, so yeah. I'm flabbergasted, really. I don't know what that was all about. CG as well, of course, is in after that big spin. He put medium tyres on it. But just like we saw on Xbox the other night, as Lambo picks up a 3-second time penalty, those that started on Ultrasofts have faded away in the first fifth of the race quite quickly. So, yep, if you're thinking about it in ILR2 later on tonight, bin the idea. That's all I'm saying. As Blizzard and Gone and N go battling down towards turn 1, and look at this, Gone and N eases past Blizzard up into third place. The two Ferraris racing away from the two McLarens. What is going on with Blizzard? Has he got damage to his car? I don't think he does. He just has seemed to have lost pace all of a sudden, and Gone and N moves up into P3, Mark.
I think ever since that incident with Frisky, he either has some light damage on the right hand side, or he's just kind of, settle back into it. Just doesn't look himself at the moment, and his teammates catching him up as well. And TGG Poe, he's had a quietly good race as ever. Cliffy has gained the most places of anyone from the back of the grid so far.
Yeah, New Year same story if you're Cliffy. Absolutely typical Cliffy, all the way up into the top 10 now. We still have all 19 runners in the field. A few of them threatened to retire early on when we had Leon in the barrier on the first corner of the first lap, but it wasn't to be. Interestingly, the gap between Lewis and Lickle not extending at all. Oh, and as I say, we haven't had any retirements. Lambo's left the session, and he's not exactly retired, but he's as good as retired if he doesn't come back, so we'll keep an eye on that one. Lambo has been so consistent over the course of the season. I wouldn't be surprised if he returns. Always likes to see the race out. But Neo, look at this, Blizzard rattled, and now Neo's right on his case, and Lickle blocks as well, keeping within 3.5 seconds of Lewis as well. What do you think about that one, Mark?
Yes, good pace from Lickle once again. Again, this good form he's been showing since the British Grand Prix. Underlying what we were talking about earlier, you know, if Lickle can do this on a consistent basis, he will be fighting in the top 5 every single race.
Yeah, really showing what he's capable of, and arguably more than what we expected from him, to be taking it to Lewis, who, of course, is just like Blizzard in terms of pace, so that's very good. But I mean, we're talking of Blizzard, he's just going backwards at the moment, down into P4 now, and Neo ain't far behind him. And to top it all off, Gran pulled the DRS as well, so he's not going to be a sitting duck because it's Hungary, but it's going to be very difficult for him, as we now have our first official retirement from the race, and it's Frisky CJ on who was, of course, the pole sitter who started on the Ultrasofts.
Yes, well, you know, he can come away with a great pole position here at Hungary, but yeah, it all went wrong for him pretty much from picking that strategy, but you know, that's what happened. It certainly helped spice this race up, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks, CJ. They were planning on doing it again. Feel free. It was exciting. It was dramatic in the early stages. It still is. And Mark, I see you put in the chat that you didn't see any visible damage on Blizzard, and I have to totally agree. I didn't see any visible damage when I looked either. So he's under real threat here from Neo, his teammate. 3/10 behind him. He's in the slipstream. And is this another position going for Blizzard? Let's have a look here. He's going to go around the outside into turn 1, and is he going to be forcing his teammate out wide? He certainly is going to push him to the limit, but round the outside goes Neo. Up he goes into the top 4, and questions have to be asked. Is there damage that we can't see on that front wing of Blizzard? Looking at it again, I don't think so. I think it's all intact. Maybe, Mark, he's cooked the tyres, because it is a track where you can cook the tyres, isn't it?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, you know, when I league race here, it was in the rain, fortunately, so I never really saw those issues, but I do know you can get tyre temp issues here on the front, so might be that. And the fact that he was defending the place from his own teammate so hard just then would suggest he didn't have damage, because if he had big damage, I think he would have just let his teammate go.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very good point, well made. I would agree with that. And now Poe's only a couple of tenths behind Blizzard. I mean, he must have cooked them. He must have cooked the tyres. It's the only explanation for it. But I'm looking riding on board with Cliffy at the moment. He's tucked up behind Bugatti. He's up to 9th after some pit stops, as well as some great moves. Can he make Bugatti his latest victim? We'll go to the battle between Blizzard and Poe in a moment. I just want to keep an eye on Cliffy because he looks really menacing. And is that a pit stop? Yeah, he must have cooked them. He must have cooked the tyres. If you don't mind, Mark, I'm going to stay with Cliffy. Can you give us an idea about Blizzard as if he's changing the wing? But here comes Cliffy up the inside before they even reach turn 1. And surely on the brakes, yep, as we go to the helicopter camera, he eases past Bugatti, and that's yet another place gained for the man that just gains places for fun in ILR, and that's P7 now. And next up is the Williams of LMC Hamilton. So Cliffy up into the top 7, textbook move. Bugatti was running really wide into the final corner, and it was a doddle for him. So what has happened to Blizzard? Did he change the wing?
No wing damage. He switched to the medium compounds, but yeah, there's no drama down in the McLaren pit lane. But he's come out behind Josh and Novak, who are battling over P12 currently.
No, he's come back out further down the field. Blizzard not having a great start to 2019 at the moment. Perhaps cooking the tyres after that contact he had with CJ earlier on. Maybe that lost his focus and made him push more aggressively, perhaps, and caused the issues. Not too sure, but let's have a look here at Gran, who is now tucked right up behind his teammate. I tell you what, the Finnish driver is having a fantastic race this afternoon, isn't he?
Yes, and to me it's not that surprising. You know, Austria and Britain, he was looking really strong at times, and then he just got involved in incidents. So, you know, in recent races he has shown really good pace, and here he comes.
Oh, I thought Lickle was going to let him through there. The closing speed was huge, but it was a late diversion from Lickle block. So the Ferraris look like they're going to fight this one. Not often in real life you see two Ferraris fighting, but on the game you will see it. This will allow Lewis to lick his lips even more at the prospect of a certain 25 points if these guys keep this up, because he's going to be allowed to break away. You have to feel Gonanen's the quicker driver at the moment. Should he be allowed free to go and attack Lewis in front? That's the big question. Well, it is a virtual game. They're not an official team. They don't get paid to do it, so I can understand why Lickle won't do it.
Yes, and they've got a significant advantage to Neo behind. So, I mean, I think they will probably both realise that they haven't quite got the pace to keep up with Lewis at the moment. It's a really good scrap for P11 between Josh and Novak at the moment, although they're in Sector 2 now, so probably best to switch to them later. But yeah, Gonan, really strong pace here once again. He's just got to stay out of trouble, and then he will get the result he deserves. It would be by far his best result of the season if he stays where he is. His best result was a P5 back at Canada.
Oh, and in comes Licko, so he's making the call for the pits then. That's probably why he was defending so hard as well, because he wanted first dibs on the pits. So in comes Licko for that pit stop, and that will allow me to shuffle back to the battle you called down in the lower reaches of the top 10, and just outside the top 10 in fact. We've got Nowak, Josh in a little battle. Nowak on 5-lap-old ultras. I'm really lost for words as to why he's done that. Surely 2 mistakes in the one race, one at the start and then one when he was in the pits. What do you think, Mark?
Yes, it's a very strange thing as Neo comes into the pits. I'm interested to see where Neo feeds out actually. See how much time Blizzard lost. Wow, he's actually come out in a real lot of traffic here. It's got Poe and Neo and Novak, so this little midfield battle here could get rather tasty.
Yeah, it really could, and it's getting tasty right now because Nowak is going down the inside of Poe. Oh, contact between them. It forces them both wide and opens the door for Blizzard to sliver through. Nowak ain't giving it up though. He's way off the road. Oh, he's got into the wall, out on the marbles, out on the dirty stuff, and it spat him straight into the barrier down at turn 3. Now, will that bring out a safety car? He's not on the racetrack, but he's very, very close to the racing line. The game notoriously doesn't give out many safety cars. We've got a yellow sector 1 and 2. No sign of it at the moment, but yeah, he got way out wide, and when you go out wide on the dirty stuff, it can often end badly, and that's exactly what happened there, Mark, wasn't it?
Well, he just didn't have the grip to slow himself down. The ultras were gone. I think he needed to sort of, back off there well before. He was trying to brake. The car just wouldn't slow down, and that was it. That's another retirement. That was a big accident, though, slamming into that wall there.
Yep, Lewis and Gonanen have also come into the pits then. And Gonanen, is he ahead of Licko? That's going to be one to watch. Licko coming down towards turn 1. No, Licko's comfortably ahead, but is Gonanen... No, Gonanen's ahead of Licko. What's going on there? What has gone on there? How has Gonanen jumped Licko, and by 3 seconds? Was Licko held in the pits, perhaps?
Maybe, yes. There were some drivers coming in at the same time. I think, was it Neo coming in at the same time? No, yeah, Neo couldn't possibly have been close enough. Or maybe Licko just made a mistake on his outlap, maybe. But yeah, Gonan, he's in Dream Street at the moment. He's in P2. And at the moment, McLaren's sort of coming back into it a little bit. Once all the pit stops come out, they'll be trying to get back up to the Ferraris and battle for the final podium, because at the moment Lewis looks like he's going to run away with this.
Yeah, Lewis looks like he's going to run away with it. The big question, though, for Lewis, the big headache, if you could call it that, is can he get past Calic on the mediums? You'd feel that Hamilton and Cliffy won't be far away from the pit stop. You did say between in this period of time between lap 10 and 15 you'd expect them in. They've done 13, they're now on the 14th, so no, still no sign of a pit stop from the leading two. So Lewis's next worry will be, can he clear these guys quickly and cleanly? But here comes Cliffy now, who again loves overtaking cars, and he's going to do it into turn 1 as he's right in the slipstream behind Hamilton. Thought about the late move but couldn't quite do it. Cliffy on those soft compound tyres, tucks right up behind LMC Hamilton. It doesn't look like he's going to be close enough into turn 2, and that's the frustrating thing, because he's going to be stuck there for quite a while. What about Neo? He's quite close. He's having a look up at the inside, in fact, on Josh into turn 1, and through he goes. Ahead of VSR Josh he goes. Josh down to 9th, and there's now a car between the two McLaren drivers, and Josh, he came in very, very early for a set of mediums, and he's jumped right up the field with that undercut, hasn't he?
Yes, done pretty well, although runs mega wide there. That was a nice move by Neo. I think he had to get that done. Now he can get after those two Ferraris. It'll be interesting to see if he's got the pace to sort of keep up with Licko and Gonan, who have had really good race pace ahead of him.
Yeah, will be one to watch and see if he can. That's a big question though, isn't it? Can McLaren come back in this stint at Ferrari, as you say, that for the final podium spots? That is the big question, you have to say. But I've been really, really impressed by Gonanen today, and I know you say we shouldn't be surprised, but it's a fantastic effort. And can he close in on Lewis? Because he was quicker than Licko. 4 seconds, it's a lot to ask, it really is. But if Lewis starts getting stuck behind the likes of Calic, and I know he won't get stuck behind Hamilton and Lawrence because they've just come into the pits, but if Calic was to hold Lewis up, it might give Gonanen a sniff. It's going to be one to watch. It is a track where overtaking is difficult. Maybe I'm just getting a little bit hopeful, but Gonanen certainly had some decent pace earlier on, and it's not over yet. That's all I'm saying. What do you think, Mark?
It's a long way to go. We've got half the race to go. But, you know, Kalik, to be fair to him, he's not the most aggressive defender. So, you know, someone like Lewis, I can't see Kalik holding him up for too long.
Okay, well, there we go. We'll keep an eye on it. It will help Gran, though, even to have Kalik there in front of Lewis for some length of time. And he's now cut the gap. No, he's not cut the gap. It's 3.9. It's staying around the same for now. But if Gran can keep his tyres in check, he might be able to threaten later on. I'm not giving up on a Gran victory just yet. Not that I want it. Just saying, I think it would be great for the race if it was to happen. But CC Brains picked up a 3-second time penalty, and I think earlier on, I missed by myself, I think I saw Blizzard pick one up. I didn't announce it, but I think Blizzard picked up a 3-second time penalty as well, and his miserable race looks to be continuing. He's now stuck behind VSR Josh, who's jumped him with that really early undercut, the aggressive undercut that he went for. And not only that, he's got TTG Poe tucked right behind him as well, and he is having a really solid race as well as Poe, isn't he?
Yeah, Blizzard just adds insult to injury with picking up a 3-second time. I don't know, I think it's more than his driving. There's just something looks wrong with the setup of the car to me. It just doesn't look right here. It's almost like he hasn't got enough downforce on the back of the car. It just seems to be not planted the way you want to be at this track.
Perhaps too much ballast, maybe? That could be a factor. Too much ballast in the car, sliding the rear tyres around with oversteer, maybe?
Yeah, maybe something like that, because, you know, normally when he's come up to the back of people like Josh, he's just cruised past them, but it's not happening today for him, even with DRS.
Yeah, not working at all well for Blizzard. Very rare we see him struggle like this, and Poe now looks more likely to pass him than Blizzard looks to pass Josh, so not sure what's going on there. As Gran slips back to 4.5 seconds behind Lewis, so any hopes of a Gran charge look to be fading already. He needs to be a lot more consistent than that. He is pulling away still from little blocks behind him. So the big question, I think, as you mentioned earlier, is about what can Neo do about the Ferraris, because at the moment Blizzard doesn't look like he can do anything about the Ferraris. He needs to think about doing something about Josh in front of him, and doesn't even look like he could do that, because the two Renaults are pretty soon going to be swarming him, because one of them already is, and CC Brain's next in line.
Yes, he's got to try and get past Josh, or at least stay in that DRS range. But yeah, Poe looks really, really racy today, so he's going to have a bit of a challenge on his hands, Blizzard, right now.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that one, but as well as that, we should keep an eye on Kalik, because it's now only half a second between the two drivers. And the problem here for Lewis is he's caught him just as they exit turn 1 and 2, so that means he's going to be following him for quite a significant period of time, you would feel. Is Kalik going to hold him up? I mean, Lewis would love to get through on him, but it's not crucial he needs to get through on him. We could lose a couple of seconds here, but Lewis, being the driver he is, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes attacking. Kalik holding firm for now will allow Gran to gain in this middle sector of the lap. What would you do, Mark? Surely it's all about taking your time and waiting for the moment.
Yes, I think he's going to try and force him to a mistake if he can, to lock of the tyre from Kalik just then. But no, he doesn't need to go all-out aggressive here. You know, still got half the race to go. Last thing he wants to do, given that the car ahead's going to have worn tyres, is misjudge his braking, slam into the back of that Sauber, break his wing, because that would cost him the race win, which has been slammed dunk from the last few laps. And Kalik's not put up a fight at all. I think he realises he's not in the fight here.
Yeah, clever from Kalik. Respect shown between the two drivers there. I mean, I know a lot of drivers do not like when someone's on an alternate strategy that they're held up. And hats off to Kalik there for getting out of the way at a sensible time and allowing the race leader through, who looks at the moment on course for back-to-back victories. The world champion finally showing the form we know he's capable of. He showed it in France as well, to be fair to him, but he was unlucky with a glitch in the pit lane. But can he go on and make it back-to-back victories and really start to make an impact on Season 4 in ILR? We'll keep an eye on it. Lap 19 out of 35. He is the race leader. Next second is Gran, and Kalik is yet to stop. Then it would be Lickle, then Neo, then, whoa, look at this, Blizzard and Josh. All of a sudden Blizzard's found a way through on Josh, up into P6. So there is life left in Blizzard this afternoon. Maybe a mistake from Josh or something, I'm not sure. It didn't look like Josh would be the one being defensive. It looked more like Blizzard would be defending from Poe at some point, but that's not the case. And Blizzard, showing how strong and determined he is to win this championship, has found a way through. Did you see it, Mark?
No, I didn't see it actually. I was having a look at the battle between CC Brain, Matt Sebos and Hamilton, but yeah, no, I reckon Josh has looked like he struggled with Sector 1 throughout, so I reckon he's made a mistake somewhere. Yeah,
and perhaps those 2-lap older tyres as well, paying dividends for Blizzard to get through. Maybe a little bit of traction or lacking it coming out of turn 1. I mean, they are mediums, I know they do last a long time, of course, but Just maybe that little edge helped as well, and the fact that he is struggling too. But Josh doesn't look as if he's falling off the back though, does he? And Poe, meanwhile, is just waiting in the wings too, if anything was to happen. It looks like a cracking scrap, this, but for what would eventually be P5 when we expect Calic to come in. And CC Brain has actually done 15 laps on mediums and chose to come into the pits, so I wonder what the decision behind that is. I mean, could he do 30 laps in total on mediums, or would that be asking too much? As we watch Poe get really close to the back of Josh into turn 1 and nearly had a look up the inside. And it looks like what you said, what you've noticed is true. Josh really, really struggling to keep Poe behind there.
Yes, I mean, especially turn 3, he's run wide there. Not this time, but he's run wide there several times. He's going to struggle to get to the end, even on the mediums, the way he's sort of, you know, bashing these tyres on the curbs as he's doing.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye and see if he can. But I mean, how long? I mean, I know you said he could last forever. Like, is there a point where it just gets impossible to race on them? I mean, we've seen CC Brain there come in after 15 lap old tyres. If he carried on, he'd have done 30, but is that just impossible?
Well, I mean, in terms of the wear, they'll go a very long time, but at some point when the wear gets to a certain point, the temperature starts coming into play, and that's when they become unusable, eventually.
So they just become pointless really to use. I mean, they won't puncture, but they're not competitive, so that'll be why we've seen that decision being made. Josh might feel the same come the end of the race, because he's done 11 laps already, and he's got another 14 to do. And Blizzard with a big slide there coming out of the final corner, and that might allow Josh into play. Poe's not far away either, and as they go down into turn 1 and they're still in a line, the McLaren, the Force India and the Renault, no move there, but there looked like there could have been a potential move on. The 3 brightest cars on the grid, orange, pink and yellow, all battling together, but Blizzard with that big slide there coming out the final corner, Josh just unable to pounce, which was a bit of a surprise to me there, Mark.
Yeah, it was, but it seems like he's lacking a bit of straight line speed, but also I've noticed in the telemetry he's running really low fuel, so maybe he's having to fuel save as well. I've been keeping an eye on Neo. He is taking the fight to the Ferraris. He's closed the gap onto liquor blocks just outside DRS range.
Yeah, so that will one to watch. At the same time, Donanen is now on the back of Calic, and Calic's just let him through at the exact same area of the racetrack, so no surprise he's there. Same place he let Lewis through. What's the gap between Donanen and Lewis? Around 4.4. Stable. Not much time gained or lost between them. Lewis is cruising though out front, you have to feel. He's just there going to take it easy and get that car to the finish, isn't he?
Yes, I mean, he's just poodling around in engine mode 2 and 3 at the moment. He's not really pushing by the looks of it. I mean, he brakes so early for turn 1, but Gonan, no, can't relax too much. Gonan has been outstanding today, so a few mistakes from Lewis could still put Gonan back into it, but it's looking good for the Red Bull driver right now.
Looking really good for him, and looking really good for VSR Josh as he dives up the inside on Blizzard into turn 1. Blizzard looking to come back on the exit. Josh has been put in that first sector, has managed to make a move. Blizzard now round the outside, he goes through turn 2. Surely he'll be run out of road. He's still out there. Oh, there's more contact for Blizzard this afternoon. He forces Josh off the track with a touch. He rejoins, but Paul is through. A little mistake again from Blizzard, touching Josh there. What did you make of that one, Mark?
I think the thing is, going around the outside there, you've really got to have, fresher tyres than your opponents, have the traction to get the move done. He didn't really have that. I think he needed, although a bit more space from Josh probably would have been helpful as well, but that has played into the hands of Poe, who's frankly looked quicker than both of these guys at the moment. So now Blizzard's ahead of the Force India driver, and now he's going to have a real mighty challenge to defend from this Renault, who's looked quicker all race. Yeah,
Poe's been fantastic this afternoon. I mean, real hats off to him, a real hats off to Josh Gonerhan as well. Remember, folks, we love to hear from you on your driver of the day. We still have a good 13 laps to go here, but we love to hear your opinions for it. Surely Gonerhan will be a contender. Will Cliffy become a contender come the end of this race? The way these guys are scrapping, it's going to allow the likes of Hamilton, Matt and Cliffy into this battle, isn't it, really soon? But look at this, all of a sudden, totally against form, Josh is attacking Poe down into turn 1, and here he goes on the brakes, unexpected by us. We expected Poe to go off the Blizzard, and it's Josh that's making the move. Well, tapped by Blizzard, it doesn't seem to have phased him at all. He's attacking round the outside as they go through turn 2. Surely Poe will have the high ground. We've seen this battle before, we're going to see it again through turn 3, and it's Josh who makes it work and moves up into P6. Fantastic stuff there.
Yeah, well, that was the comeback kid stuff from Josh there, and he had just enough room, and he got the braking on the outside spot on hook. Man, he nearly ran off the tractors then. he's on the ragged edge, Josh, for sure, but it's proven to be very entertaining for us.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Great to watch, and all this now really is starting to invite Hamilton, Cliffy and Matt into the battle. Hamilton's only 9/10 behind that group now. He's arguably there. I know it's
Neo's got a problem. Neo's got a problem.
Neo, let's have a look.
He's had an off. He's lost half his wing on the left side. I thought he suddenly lost a lot of time to Liquids. He must have had, I suspect, Sector 1.
Oh, well, he's been pushing so hard, has Neo. And unfortunately, in his attempts to get to the Ferraris, it's gone up in flames. And what it's been, by McLaren standards, a really poor afternoon. It's going to get even worse. Neo now into the pits. It does promote Blizzard into P4, a vulnerable P4, but Neo surely now is going to struggle to get any points. I would presume he might have done that through turn 11, got wide on the curb, maybe Mark, and gone in for a spin, maybe.
I think it was earlier than that, because he was right behind Lickle going into the start of that lap, and then suddenly he dropped 4 seconds, and then I called back on him and suddenly had no wing. So I think it was in Sector 1 or Sector 2, maybe, turn 4, more likely the chicane, because Lickle did that in qualifying actually.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. Lickle did lose it there. As Paul left the session now. That's a real shame. That's disappointing for Paul. Having a great race, enjoyable to watch all afternoon, and one of our main drivers in the exciting action has managed to leave the session. Probably a disconnect there. That's a real shame for him. So that allows Matt up into 8th, Hamilton up to 6th, Cliffy up to 7th. Hamilton's in a good race as well. A really solid effort, isn't he?
Yeah, he's quietly been going about his business, and he's been dragging Cliffy along the whole time. Matt Sebels, he's in the points, P8 at the moment. He's had a race. He stayed out of each other's way, but sometimes that's what you need to do. You have a quiet race and you just pick up the pieces as everyone else falls apart.
Yeah, I've actually seen that Matt Sebels missed the checkered flag to start his flying lap in qualifying by half a second or something. So he started right down the back, and he's now up into P8. So we'll be happy about that. But these three look to be having a good little scrap for P6. I don't know if Hamilton has the pace to chase after Josh. I mean, he has it on 7 laps younger tyres, so he might. We'll keep an eye on it. 1.4 between them. Blizzard now a little bit of respite to Josh after the action that was going on earlier on, doesn't he? He's got a full second nearly to them. But will Josh come back? Will Hamilton and Cliffy and Matt find the pace to get involved? That'll be one to watch, won't it, Matt?
Yes, and one key aspect of this battle for P4 is that Hamilton and Cliffy have far fresher tyres than the 2 drivers ahead of them.
Yeah, they do. So you have to feel that they should have the pace to get there. Hamilton, though, not known for his raw pace near the front of the action, so that might level it out a little bit. I think we might see Cliffy desperate to find a way ahead of him, because we knew Cliffy was quicker. We saw him gaining on him in the run up to the pit stops, didn't we? So we'll see if Cliffy can make a move and get after these guys. But Hamilton still gaining on Josh, and now down to a second, so he's found 4/10 over this lap, Mark. So it certainly looks like there's a chance we could have Blizzard, Josh, Hamilton, Cliffy and Matt all in a cracking scrap, with Calic as well potentially getting in there, because he is on the soft compound tyre and he's only 3.7 behind.
Yes, so he's got to get a move on. He hasn't got too many laps. He's got to get some overtakes. So Josh is crucially now fallen out of DRS range of Blizzard up ahead. So it's going to be a difficult challenge for him to hold off Hamilton and Cliffy, given the tyre disadvantage he's at. He's some of the most mediums of anyone on track at the moment. Yeah, it's going to be really difficult to see him holding these guys off as the gap continues to be whittled down. But his saving grace is that Cliffy is attacking LMC Hamilton at the moment. He's so close to the back. I mean, he's not attacking yet, but he's not far away from thinking about a move. I mean, the advantage Hamilton has is he will now have the PRS to VSR Josh in front. So can Cliffy make a way through? But Hamilton himself, independently, is going to catch Josh without the help of anyone else. He's going to get there. He has got the pace. 7-lap difference in the tyres. And LMC Hamilton could be on for one of his best results of the season, as he said. I'm actually going to have a look here and see if he's had a better result all season. But he's running up in the top 6, and it could be better than that before the finish, couldn't it? Yeah, it could be. Well, his best result of the season was 4th position at Bahrain, so he could potentially equal his best result of the season the way it's going. Yeah, he really could. I mean, so many did not start for LMC Hamilton. A 10th is his only other point actually this season, so wow, it really is a real turn to form for LMC Hamilton, finding himself up in the top 6, and as we mentioned, it could get better. The top 4 could be a push getting to Blizzard, especially with Cliffy right behind him, but he could certainly attack
Josh in the next few laps. 7/10 between them. Lap 27 out of 35. But it is still Lewis in control. Let's have a little look at the leader. Cruising out front in mode 0. 5.5 seconds now. His advantage over Gran in second. Another fine performance from him. And he's not put a foot wrong since making that early move on Frisky CG. He's looked in control, hasn't he?
He's been in control. As soon as he got past Frisky and put it all, and off the track goes Hamilton. Mistake. Here comes Cliffy.
Oh, the moment I go away to go and have a quick word about Lewis, we miss it. Here we go, typical. Hamilton off the road, Cliffy up into P6. So what happened there? We didn't see it. Explain to the viewer.
Right, he just came out of the chicane. He understeered and then just went off the track and onto the grass on the right hand side out of the chicane, and Cliffy said thank you very much. Up to P6 he goes, and now perhaps Cliffy can take the mantle to Josh and Blizzard. Now don't forget, Blizzard has 3 seconds of penalty at least, maybe 6. I will check shortly.
Yeah, well, I'll have to see. Yeah, but of course, I'm always forgetting. Blizzard, of course, has got quite a few penalties to his name. I'm always forgetting that. And Hamilton will be kicking himself to have allowed Cliffy through as easily as that. So that's going to allow Cliffy to chase after Josh. And you have to say, in fairness, you would have felt that Cliffy would have been the most likely to go attacking Josh and making a move, wouldn't you, from those three?
Yes, I'd say so. Yeah. You know, Cliffy's given us a lot of entertainment this season. You know, back-to-back wins at Monaco and Canada in absolutely brilliant fashion. Only he could do that every week, he would be right up there.
I've got to ask you this, Mark. What do you think about Cliffy's strategy at times? Do you think, I mean, it gives us great entertainment, it really does, but do you think he compromises himself with this, all the work to do in the race, overtaking cars, or do you think, he just loves doing it, it's what he enjoys doing, but do you think he'd be more competitive at the front if he didn't do that? Yes,
I mean, I think maybe he's just not confident using the used tyres in the top 10, but it does compromise him at certain tracks like this. I think, to be fair to him, I think at this track he was trying to qualify in the top 10, but he just didn't get the performance in, so he had to retire early on and try from the back, and once again just proves how good he is at working his way through the pack. He's probably the best in the league at doing that.
Probably one of the best on the PlayStation platform, across the board really, at working his way through the field. He does it so often, and we just have to look at that Monaco race, don't we, where he won from ridiculous, what was it, 14th or 15th in the grid at Monaco. It's just crazy, absolutely crazy how he managed to win that race, and it just shows you what a talent VRT Cliffy is. As Hamilton gets a huge slide and another mistake, and that's mistakes you can't make at the sharp end of the field. Lit up the rear tyres, through went Matt, and now Calic's on the inside of him and through up into the top 8. So a present there for Calic, a present as well for Matt. Matt though on 18 lap old tyres, he will be delighted to have made up a place he probably wouldn't have felt he would have made up, and he now climbs up into 7th, Calic into 8th, and Calic will be licking his lips here. He'll be gaining on these guys rapidly, won't he?
Yes, he will be. You know, Cliffy and the Matt Sebos, they'll be, you know, trying to get past Josh if they can, because otherwise that Sauber looking really quick at the moment. Yeah, Hamilton seems to be struggling for temperatures, because they seem to be unforced errors when he's going on the power, so I can't think it's wear, because he has significantly less wear than some of the other guys ahead of him.
It's a strange one, it really is, to explain why he's having all those issues. Just a quick word on Calic. He's P8 at the moment. His best result, P4 this season, a couple of races ago. He's got a chance here, repeating that. It's an outside chance, but he needs to get a move on. I'm forgetting there's only 5 laps to go, but if he can get within range of Matt, Cliffy and Josh, he could be overtaking Blizzard on the penalty count. I mean, he's got a lot of overtaking to do, but he's certainly got the tyres to do it, doesn't he?
Yes, I think so. You know, Blizzard's going to be losing a significant amount of places. I'm just going to check to see what the penalty situation is for Blizzard. He's got 6 seconds at least. Lewis has not a single warning. Wow. So that's pretty impressive. He just picked up one as I said that, so sorry about that, Lewis. I'm sure you won't mind too much. So yeah, actually the top 3 have all had brilliant drives. No penalties from the top 3 at all. So the penalties really start 4th place downwards.
Yeah, well there you go, the top 3 in fine form. What is the story then with Josh, Cliffy, Matt, Calic, that little scrap? What's the scrap penalties there? We got many in the way of penalties amongst those guys?
Yeah, Josh has 1, Cliffy has none, and Matt has 1. So Cliffy's looking good for P4 at the moment.
Looking good for him. What about Calic? Is he Is he looking at any? Calic, I think he is looking at a penalty through, and I'm not too sure. But I'm interested to see here. Maybe Calic's softs are going up a little because the 14-lap old medium of Hamilton is hounding him again. Strange one, isn't it?
Yes, I mean, the very best performance of the softs do go off just before the 10th lap mark, so it's not surprising to me. But, you know, he's got a huge gap to his me, so he's still on for a good point score. Yeah. But likes of Blizzard and Josh can be really struggling now. Over 20 laps on those mediums now. They're going to have to try and nurse those home to the finish.
Yeah, looking like it will be a struggle for those guys. Let's have a look at Lorman. We've not spoke about him at all, in fact, over the course of the race. We'll go to Cliffy as well in a moment, but Lorman's there behind. It's me, a potential change there for the final points being position between those two. A little scrap developing there on the remaining 4 or so laps, so we'll keep an eye on that one. I'll go to Cliffy first of all, though, because he's further around the lap and we'll be getting close to an overtaking position pretty soon. Right up behind Josh, 22 lap old tyres. They are going to be shot to pieces as CC Brain picks up a 3-second time penalty. It's been a great, and now retires from the race, so a shame for him. He's the 3rd retirement. He joins Nowek and Frisky CJ on the sidelines. Lambo, he's 2 laps down, his car disconnected from the race, and that's why he's coasting round. So ideally 4 retirements.
Leon just had a spin out of turn 6, so that just completes a miserable day for the Toro Rosso driver.
Yep, not a good day.
Sorry.
You have the team, in fact.
No.
Yep, here comes Cliffy. Oh, really close to the back of Josh. He's going to go down the outside into turn 1. We've seen this move before. He's got pressure tyres. Will the cutback happen? Oh, there's not enough difference in the tyres for it to happen, but he's right up behind him. Look at that, in the slipstream. He'll go round the outside into turn 2. Light contact between them. They're trading paint down at turn 2, but on the exit of the corner, Cliffy's got the traction. He's got the grip, and as you mentioned earlier, Mark, if you've got extra traction on the opponent, you can make it work, and he's done exactly that. Cliffy up into P5. Lovely stuff.
Yes. Josh, he was really fair there, gave just enough room, and that was a good battle there, but yeah, Cliffy, that tyre advantage really held there.
Yeah, and once again, he's going to be on for the top 4, as you mentioned, with Blizzard counting up those penalties. Cliffy doesn't have any, Josh did. He didn't actually need to make that move, but showing his superiority at this stage of the race. Cliffy up into the top 4 as Neo retires from the race, as Blizzard picks up another 3-second time penalty. I tell you what, Mark, he's going to be right down on the fringes of the points here, isn't he?
Yeah, P9 at the moment with 9 seconds of penalties. I'm trying to see what happened to Neo. I think it was somewhere in sector 2, I believe it was. Yeah, just before. That's maybe he called it a day, but it was just before the chicane, not after it. So that's a weird place to crash, if it was a crash.
Maybe run a little bit wide up the hill through turn 5. It's a long corner, maybe on the grass on the exit or something, but yeah, it's not often a place you see a crash. I think the only crash I've ever seen there was when 2 cars came into contact, when I think it was Kimi Räikkönen went over the top of Liuzzi or something like that. I think it was back in then, correct me if I'm wrong, but back in 2006. But yeah, strange place to go for a crash. But Lewis in the lead when lap 33 out of 35. Gone in at his second, another strong performance from him. Lickle, he's really faded out of it, hasn't he, Lickle? Away from his teammate, full 10.3 behind him now. Don't know what's happened there, he's just faded out of that one. Still going to be 3rd successive podium, a 3rd successive 3rd place for him though, so that's pretty good going. But I want to go to the fringes of the points here because Lorman's is right behind It's Me and threatening to take that final point away from him, and that'd be a good result for him if he could, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be a great result. I'm just watching Josh. Josh is having a really hard time of it. He's trying to hold off Matt Tebos, but doesn't look like he's got any tyres left whatsoever.
Both of them are on the oldest tyres out there, along with Blizzard. 22 laps, 24 laps for those guys. So we'll keep an eye on that one. I'll actually go to that one first as they run down towards turn 1. Not much in it at the moment. In fact, I'm not. I'm going to go back to LMC Hamilton, actually. Nope, he's not close enough. So Lorman's in the final corner. Is he going to do a move on It's Me? Doesn't look like it. He just can't get close enough. I mean, the tyres are so similar. It is tricky at the Hungarian to make a move. Let's have a little look further up the field then at Calic. 1.2 seconds behind those guys. He's on 11 lap old softs. You said they're past their sell-by date when they go beyond lap 10, but surely you would think maybe a little bit quicker than those mediums on Josh and Matt, or do you think about the same?
Well, perhaps in the hands of someone a bit quicker on the grids, but you know, you still the points. Oh man, Sebos getting so close.
Yeah.
to Josh. Just get the sense Josh has just got to hang on. It's still going to be a good result for him.
Yeah, he's pretty close to the limit on tyres, on temperatures. They could be going well beyond their best, and even if he was to lose one place here, he can't get flustered. He can't lose the rag because he's got two other cars within a second behind that. So Josh just needs to keep his head and keep it on the island and stay ahead of Tibos, but you can't help but feel Tibos is going to go for a threatening move up the inside pretty soon. He knows that Josh is vulnerable, and here comes Matt Tibos up behind Josh. Josh does not get the exit he needs, and he needs to defend the inside. Here we go, Matt round the outside on the final lap of the Grand Prix. Can the Haas driver make the move? Josh tries to brake late, he hangs on to the inside, determined driving and defending with Josh. The rubbing wheels, incredibly close action. Matt has the inside, surely has the line, and surely he has sixth place. Down the hill they go, side by side, and still they race down the hill, and off the road goes Matt, but he gets it done. Josh has to concede. It was on the cards for a while, and finally Matt gets the move done. Can Josh respond? I very much doubt it. Surely he has to focus on Calic behind, who's a real danger.
Yeah, well, Lewis heading through Sector 3, it's been an absolutely dominant win from him.
Yep, here he comes, Lewis round the final corner. It's going to be his second win in a row. He starts 2019 in the best possible way. He wins the Hungarian Grand Prix. A fantastic drive from him. It's going to be Gran in second, Lickel third, but who's going to be fourth? Who's going to be fifth? Who's going to be sixth and seventh? It's crazy into the race. Calic doing everything he can. Gran has seen the flag second, Lickel in third. To be fair to Josh, he hasn't got rattled. He's clung on well. With 26 lap old tyres, Calic charging onto the back of him, but it's too little too late. Calic sliding wide in the final corner. He's under pressure from Hamilton behind, but not enough, and there it is. Blizzard ends up 8th from the end. It's Glickle who's third, Cliffy a brilliant fourth, Calic 5th, fantastic result, not quite equaling his best result of the season, but still a great drive. Matt Tibos 6th from the back of the grid, Josh is 7th, Blizzard 8th, he'll be gutted, won't he, Mark? 9th for Hamilton and 10th for Rich, and he gets the final point. What a race.
Yes, no, I mean, it wasn't so much the battle for the lead, but the sort of middle of the top 10. Great action today. Calic, you know, less penalties than his rivals. A brilliant P5 for him in the end.
Yeah, superb. Cliffy up 15, Calic up 11, Matt up 12. You'd have to feel the driver of the day could be between those three. I mean, a big special mention, of course, to Lewis. Back-to-back wins, and what about Gran as well? I'm really impressed by him. I would love to hear what you guys think is your driver of the day. We do have ILR2 coming up after this. Be sure to stay tuned for that one. But Lewis has won, or Brendan Lee, whatever you prefer. If Brendan Lee has won, or Lewis has won here at Hungary in Budapest. A fantastic drive from him. Two Ferraris, a fantastic drive from them as well. Second and third, a third straight podium for Little Blocks as well. But Mark, Lewis back to his very best, and it's great to see, isn't it?
Yes, no doubt. He's in the groove now, and, you know, watch out the rest of the grids, because, you know, he could rack up some wins towards the end of the season, but I don't know, Blizzard has a few more results like that. Maybe this title battle isn't over yet, but, you know, Blizzard's, believe it or not, I think he's still managed to gain an advantage in the championship. I have to check that, because Cliffy actually did finish in P4, but yeah, I think if I was to give a driver of the day, I mean, Lewis would be the obvious candidate. But, you know, I'm probably going to give it to Gran today because, you know, it's his best result of the season. And I think he had an outstanding drive today.
You know what? I'm going to agree with you. And I have to say, it's a hard one not to give it to Lewis or Cliffy or Calic or Matt for that matter. There were so many drivers in the lower reaches further down the field that deserve a shout. But it is Lewis who wins from Gran, Liquor Blocks with Cliffy in fourth. It really was a fantastic race. We will need to get the drivers in for interview in a few moments' time. Stay with us for that. But it was a fantastic drive, of course, from Lewis to win with the two Ferraris behind in second and third. I'm going to try my best to get these guys in. I know you're quite busy and you've got another league coming up. Are you heading off?
Yeah. I've got Lickle in here. I haven't got Gernand though.
Okay.
And I think Lewis doesn't usually talk, so.
Okay. Well, I'll see what I can do to get Gernand in then. Let's see if I can get him in. I think I've got Gernand as a friend, but I'm just going to make sure and check. No, I don't. I'll send him a friend request and I'll send him a party invite after that. So bear with us, folks. Lewis doesn't usually chat to us. He's the Kimi Raikkonen of the league. So we'll see if we can get Gernand in, and the two Ferrari drivers in, who again, did a fine job to get themselves onto the podium. That is the Hungarian Grand Prix. The next up, though, it is the Belgian Grand Prix, and I enjoy that one, Mark, don't you?
Oh yes, my favourite F1 track. Some iconic corners.
Yeah, it really is a fantastic venue. There's no better racetrack on the calendar than the Spa circuit. Well, certainly one of my personal favourites, and as you say, you just know every single corner on the racetrack. One of the best of the season, the highlight of the season. I've just invited Gran in. Hopefully we can get him, but we might as well start and have a word with Lickle Blocks. Hold on, please. Hold on, wait a minute. Oh yeah, okay, you've allowed him to join. Okay, I get it. Right, yeah, what was I going to say? Yeah, we'll start and have a chat with Lickle Blocks. Lickle, well done. Third place again, a third successive third place, a third successive podium. You really are starting to pick up form now, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm really happy to finally be showing what I can do after the horrid start to the season. So to pick up 3 podiums in a row, not going to complain, really happy with my performances at the moment.
And what about the race today then? Did you feel you had the pace to win? Or what happened in the middle part of the race? You seemed to drop away. Gone and had some great pace this afternoon and managed to get ahead. What do you think? Do you think the podium was the best you could have got today? Or what happened in the middle part? Did you drop off the pace? Did you just take it easy or what?
I knew I didn't have the pace to win because Louis is a god around here. He has been for since like 2016, so that was out the window. But I think I wasn't really pushing as hard as I could because when I saw Neo spin and whatever it was, the guy was like 5 seconds. I knew he had damage, so I had Blizzard behind. It was like 8 seconds behind or whatever. So I just put into lead and none, just make sure I don't bowl it and just bring the car home comfortably for the podium.
Well, it wasn't without eventfulness in the race. I mean, it was crazy at times, but talk us through the move of the season, the move of ever, the best move in ILR history, perhaps. The 3 wide up the hill into turn 4. I mean, my jaw hit the floor when that happened. Talk us through that one. That was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I knew Chris and Blizzard were gonna go at it because I know Blizzard's driving style. He wanted to get past Frisky so he could get past so he could catch up to Louis. So he went for the move. I saw they both got a poor run, and I thought there's a gap here, and I can go for this, and I can pull off a move that could really severely affect my race in either a positive or negative way. So I decided to take the chance. It worked, and it proved positive because Blizzard, I don't know what happened to Blizzard. His pace just fell off the cliff today. Not what I thought he'd be. I thought Blizzard would be up there, but yeah, that move proved vital for my race.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Blizzard's pace did seem to fall off a cliff. We were looking for reasons as to why that might have been, whether it was a wing damage or something, but it didn't seem like that. Maybe he was struggling with the setup of the car or the tyres. Maybe they were overheating with his setup. We weren't too sure. We were puzzled, looking for reasons, but we couldn't quite put our finger on it. And the penalties mounted up too, and it left him dropping all the way down into what was eventually 8th place. But yeah, I mean, incredible move. I mean, so much risk involved, and I mean, you must have been having flashbacks to earlier races this season where you've taken moves like that and it's just resulted in an accident. But to finally have it paying off, you must be delighted.
Yeah, well, I've tried to put that behind me at the start of the season, so just see how many podiums can I keep going, can I get a streak going, and try and move up the table.
And do you think at any point there'll be time for a victory in the remaining races this season, or maybe not, just focus on podiums?
I think my best chance of winning is Singapore. Singapore's my best track, so if I can win, if I can get up there, sort the setup out so tyres don't overheat, I have a really good chance of winning the race.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to see what you can do there. What about Spa next week, the next race to kick off 2019 after today? Looking forward to that one?
Yeah, definitely. Belgium, as you say, has been a really tough track, way different different to Hungary. But it's a track I like. A lot of straights which I like. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, I can keep going.
Okay, well, we'll see how it goes for you next week. Can you keep that podium streak up? But it is Lewis who keeps the win streak up. It's now a streak. It's 2 straight wins for the world champion. Surely the world championship is too big a ask to retain from here. We'll keep an eye and see what he can do next week in Belgium. We head to the Belgian Grand Prix at Spa at the same time next week, 5:30 next Sunday night. But that is it from myself. That's it from Lickle Blocks. That's it from us all. Congratulations to the podium guys on the podium. See you all next week for the Belgian Grand Prix. Good night.